Oh, and rather strange thing, being up two brackets and nothing in there. What's with the mystery of what is in the parentheses, James?
It's just a caesuric pause for the future.
Sorry?
A caesuric pause for the future.
Wow, a
as Arthur Rimbaud would put it.
A caesuric pause for the future.
Yeah.
Like Caesar, or what's caesuric?
No, caesuric is like a meaningful pause, a pregnant pause.
Okay.
Loaded.
Do pregnant pauses bug you, or do you like them?
No, that's one of our specialities.
Yeah, sort of.
Yeah, just pretending to actually have something on your mind when you've got nothing on your mind.
You came through like over 3 years ago, and at that point you were an explosive glam rock band, and this music here on Everything Must Go is a lot mellower. What brought about that change, or what was the progression for where you are now?
Well, I would violently disagree with your summation of mellower.
Okay.
I'd call it much more cinematic, perhaps.
Yeah?
That's because I like flat rim myself.
Well, I just find there's a lot of spaces. Like, everything has its place to breathe within here. It's still rock, but it reminds me of more of like a classic rock style.
Well, that's kind of we used to have so many like hidden agendas as a band. We used to treat ourselves like robots. We set ourselves so many rules. And like, after perhaps, what we've been through as a band, I think we just granted ourselves a bit of human grace, perhaps, I think it's just much more of a human sound, really.
Yeah, so before I used to go, okay, this is our plan of attack. Yeah. We're going to go X, we want to hit on this sort of thing and get this sort of reaction. Yeah. And so now, when you wrote the music, you write most of the music with Sean, right? Yeah. So where do you start off with? Because you're not the main lyricist. Nicky's writing most of the lyrics now.
The lyricists were Nick and Richey. So they were the lyricists. It was everything we did as a band was very compartmentalized. We all found out what we could do to the best of our abilities. Then we did it. It was the kind of destruction of the ego.
Sort of an attempt at democracy.
Yeah.
And was that successful?
Well, kind of. I think so. Yeah. I mean, we haven't split up yet.
Would they just give you like the sheets of paper and the lyrics, and then you'd sort of try to fit them into a musical form?
Yeah, kind of. They would give me the lyrics, and like myself and Sean would like work around it. But the one rule I always set myself was that I never wrote any music without any of the lyrics. I never sat around the room just playing guitar and just writing music for the sake of it. I always waited for the lyrics to come from Nick and Richey.
Wow, that's interesting.
And then did everything on an interpretive basis, because I think the lyrics deserve to be treated with a bit of respect.
Well, on some of the songs on the album, like Everything Must Go and Removables and Interiors, there's this real sort of feel of transience and non-permanence. Yeah. And was that sort of reflective of the disappearance of Richey? No. I mean, it's very tempting to I suppose it's very tempting for like a journalist or whatever to actually interpret the album on the basis of a post-Richey analysis. But no, I mean, at the end of the day, the song Interiors is about one of our favorite painters. In a song like Interiors is just about a painter called William de Kooning, who's got Alzheimer's disease. And the only treatment they prescribed him was that they told him to carry on painting. And he would say, he paints now, and sometimes he can't even remember what he's painted, then he carries on with it. So, like I said, it's very, very tempting for journalists to actually load significance of any song on the album with based on the event,
based on the essence of what's happened with Richey and stuff. But it's true in some areas and not true in others.
Yeah. Well, you also often feature different people who have inspired you, like Aleister Crowley and William Burroughs and so forth. And you do refer to a number of painters. You've got the Jackson Pollock quote here. It says, "The pictures I contemplate painting would constitute a halfway state and an attempt to point out the direction of the future without arriving there completely." Why did you put that quote there?
Just because, we're humble enough. I think there was always a certain, we would have liked to believe that to our lyrics, there was always a certain didactic nature to our lyrics. But we were humble enough to actually realize that our lyrics weren't always enough of a text to actually explain what we were trying to get at.
Are you interested, like he talked about the future, are you interested in trying to make a hybrid of music that is new? I don't, to be honest, we've never been that bothered about infusing our music with any kind of originality. I really like Leah. I think, the only music I've seen that's innovative or original in the last 10 years is rap music. I don't think, indie guitar bands are possible of actually innovating within the music. But in our lyrics, I think, we're definitely obsessed with, the present, which leads to the future, And also, we're a Welsh band. So we're obsessed with that a lot more. We've got
perhaps a lot more political motives in terms of, like, we feel much more affected by a central government and, like, you know, feel much more affected by, you know, kind of a central patriotism, which is basically English, whereas we are Welsh. So, like, I think, you know, we are obsessed with themes that lead to the future, yeah. Ooh, that's cool.
It's always, like, I feel it's sort of weird bringing it back to Richey because, you know, as you say, it's not necessarily so directly related to your work, but as a band, was it difficult to make the decision to carry on as a three-piece without him?
No, it wasn't. I think, you know, the thing that people don't really, I suppose, understand about the Richey thing is that it's much more personal rather than professional because, you know, we've all known each other since we were at least about 5-6 years old. So the things that bug us or the things that kind of perhaps distress us are things that happen on a much more personal level, like, you know, that I won't be ever going for a drink with him again, or I won't ever be buying him a Christmas present again, or things like that. To actually go on and write songs and do an album and carry on as a band was quite easy. Not easy, but easier than people would imagine, because at the end of the day, 7 of the songs on the album were written before the Richey thing happened, so we still felt that there was a lot of unfinished business. It still felt like a Manic album because the 4 elements are still on there. You know, a lot of Richey's lyrics are still on there, etc., etc. So it was, you know, of course the album's infused with a lot of what's happened, but not all of it, you know.
And do you have any sort of feelings, like, have you resolved, have you come to terms with the fact that he's just not right here right now, or are you constantly thinking about it just because he's not, it's fairly inconclusive?
I don't know, I've kind of tried to put a full stop in it to a certain degree. In terms of talking about it also, I think we've started trying to reserve some of our own feelings for ourselves, not for other people's consumption. Right?
With the three of you knowing each other for so long, like it must be over 20 years that you've known each other, there's this, like, this idea that some people have that the personality is formed by the age you're 2. So do you think you've grown a lot? Like, have you changed a lot since knowing each other from when you were 6 years old?
No, I don't think so. I don't think Nick has changed that much. I don't think Sean has changed that much. And I don't really think that I've changed that much. That's it, really. I mean, outwardly to other people, over the last 5 years, I might have seemed as if I've changed, but that's just the nature of being in a band. You just gain, inherently, you just gain some more confidence, but towards each other, we're still the same people.
You used to be more like nihilistically based on the outside, and some people are saying you're maturing and there's more room for hope and love within you. Did that always exist during those times of, like, external hatred?
Well, obviously, after what's happened, I suppose kind of you've got to try and take stock of the way you govern yourself, or the way you just try and, I think after what's happened, I suppose we kind of censor ourselves a bit more. We don't always kind of run with our first thought or first emotion. And also, I think Nick has started writing songs about things that inspire him. Nick used to be a very confrontational person, and of course, I think obviously, you know, nihilism used to be quite a buzzword for us, and I think you know, we've experienced as much of that as we want to experience, really. And yeah, history is there for us to take stock of, but, you know, I suppose we kind of put the shutters down on it, I suppose.
Okay, we're going to take, you're going to be playing an amazing show at the Horseshoe this Saturday. Small room and a great band. So that's this Saturday at the Horseshoe in Toronto. Any other Canadian dates?
Yeah, we're playing Vancouver as well. And then I think we're coming back. I think we're doing another gig here in Toronto sometime. I'm not quite sure.
Cool. We're going to be playing a track it's called Design for a Life. And thank you very much, James, for talking.